We have new Rise of Skywalker footage, and I'm kind of losing my crap. I was at work for 10.5 hours this morning, and that's okay. You know why? Because I got to sit there on my phone and then kind of lose my mind in the break room and have people make weird looks at me. But that's okay. It is now 7 o'clock at night. I left for work at 6 o'clock this morning, and I'm showered, and now we're going to break down this footage. And we're doing this on a little bit of a different way than I normally do. Normally, with trailers and breakdowns and stuff like that, I prefer to just have the YouTube video open and whatever. But instead of this, I actually managed to get it into Adobe Premiere, the same thing that I'm going to be using to edit this video. That way I can go literally frame by frame by frame. The reason I'm doing this is because in total, in terms of new footage, the teaser-y footage, sizzle reel, whatever footage, is only about, let's see here, 58 seconds long. 58 and 15/100ths of a second long. And a lot of that's black screen and the end title and everything like that. But I'm just going to go ahead, try and be calm about it, because I've watched this like a dozen times. I watched it like 3 or 4 times on my first break at work, then 3 or 4 times on my second break at work, and then I watched it another 5 or 6 times since I got home from work. And there's a lot to break down in like a grand total of like 8 shots or something like that. A lot of speculation to be had. So we'll go ahead and switch to desktop view. There we go. I've already cut out everything before it. Everything before it is wonderfully well done, but it's just setup really. Here's the original trilogy, here's the prequel trilogy, here's Force Awakens and Last Jedi. Okay, now the story of a generation comes to its end, and it starts here with this title of This Christmas. No, not there yet. Not much really off of this shot, other than we do see the Falcon back there, which I have not noticed yet. We don't have Rose. I don't think we're going to get Rose outside of like as a support role, or maybe in the space battle that we're going to see. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Windows. You've done well. Thank you, Windows Defender. Anyways, but this is Pisana or Pasana. I'm not quite sure how we're pronouncing it. I think it's Pisana. But I mean, I have a feeling that I at least now am starting to kind of put together the timeline of this whole thing. In terms of planets, it looks like we're going to be on Yavin 4 or something similar to it. At the very beginning of the film, and then we're going to go on to this film, or Pasana, and then I'm imagining then we're going to have a split up where Poe, Finn end up somewhere else, where they end up meeting with Zorai and Naomi Aki's character, who I still can't remember her character name. And Rey will then go off on her own later on. But we get this shot, very nice shot. We finally get to see the new big 3 of this trilogy together, finally. And we're looking at a paint festival. And they look very confused that it exists, and I'm not quite sure because there's so much in this. There is so much that they need to cover in this, I shouldn't say that they need to cover, that they should cover in this film, that I'm wondering what the point will be to give us whatever's going on here. But I mean, I trust JJ completely. I trust everybody that's working on this movie completely to give us the best thing that they possibly can. So it clearly has a reason. I'm not quite sure what, but there's a reason for us seeing the Pasanans, or whatever they're called, partying it up in a paint festival. That's weird, man. I mean, we lost Carrie Fisher in December of 2016. This is coming out 3 years after her death, and she's still here. And I remember seeing something in the press about J.J. Abrams talking to, I don't remember what outlet it was, but he said something along the lines of that in The Princess Diarist, she was talking about how J.J. was brave enough or kind enough or something like that to work with me twice. And JJ commented that she had never worked with JJ before The Force Awakens, and he wasn't supposed to be on Episode 9, Rise of Skywalker, until like long after her death. So how did she know? Well, something magical to that. But I mean, clearly they're doing a very good job of having her in the film somehow, some way. The story of a generation. The story of 3 generations, really, because if you break it down, you've got the original trilogy generation, which is my dad and my uncle and my mom and people that were born in the 60s and 70s. And then you have people like me who are the prequel generation. I was born in 1990. And then you've got people like my youngest sister. She was born in 2005. And she's 2006, I think, is when she was born. But for her, she is the sequel generation in a lot of ways. So it's more than just one generation. That's mind-boggling and beautiful. Star Wars is part of our mythology. Anyways, let's get back to the actual footage. Yes, please. I mean, yeah, give me a fleet. I don't quite recognize... Okay. So I don't quite recognize what this ship is here. We've got A-Wing, 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 A-Wing. And a couple more A-Wings down here. Y-Wings and B-Wings. These look like... I'm wondering what these are. I think because of these... The little, like, off-kilter laser cannons on these X-Wings, I think these might be T-85s as opposed to T-70s like we've seen in the films, but the T-85 we saw in Resistance. Traditional blockade runner, and I have no idea what this ship is. Let me see whether or not I can do this real quick. Boop. And... There's that, and... No, wrong one. 540. Don't mind me, guys. I mean, I have no idea what that ship is. Let's just go back to editing so it's a little bit bigger for you guys. I can't tell what that ship is. Don't know. Oh, that's lovely. That must be lovely for you guys. Anyways. But yeah, give me a tiny little scrappy rebellion fleet. I want more than that. I want my Ride of the Rohirrim. I want the entirety of the galaxy to stand up and in one voice say no. That's what I really want in the space battle that is to come. And we know there's going to be a massive space battle because, well, the next frame. Countless Star Destroyers in a nebula. I don't have I don't have anything else to say other than yes, and they're Imperial looking. They look like they're Imperial 2s, I think. Imperial 2 class Star Destroyers? I don't know. I don't know, guys. I wish if I knew, but I don't. It's driving me bonkers. Because I was trying to map it out, and I'm gonna pull out my dry erase board tonight. My big old dry erase board. I'm gonna finally open it and just start drawing character names and stuff, because for a while I've been thinking that we're going to be getting 3 factions. We're going to get the true Empire, i.e. these guys, and then you're going to have the First Order, Kylo and Hux and whatever, and then the Resistance / Rebellion, whatever they are now, and trying to figure out how that will work, like, because the First Order is the remnants of the chosen people that were allowed to survive Operation Cinder in the Aftermath novels and Battlefront 2 and whatever. Grand Admiral Sloane and little baby Hux and Daddy Hux and whatever, and Nash Windrider from the Lost Stars and everything like that. And even in Nash Windrider mentions that they're in a nebula, and they're clearly in some sort of gas cloud or nebula or something like that in this shot and in the next shot. Oh, that's much better. So much brighter. Yeah, I'll just stop right there. Those all look like Imperial 2s. Also, credit to Scout the Trooper, at Scout the Trooper on Twitter, for mentioning that it looks like they have those ventral bombardment cannons. So that's probably we'll get there. That's probably this one right here. In theory, that's the general thing. He was Scout the Trooper was replying to an Eckerd's Ladder thing. Anyways, we'll go back and we'll get to all this in a second. Let's keep talking about the factions in this film, because I don't know, guys, because where did all these Imperial 2 Star Destroyers come from? I mean, we know that the First Order has the Resurgent class, which is objectively better than the Imperial 2s in terms of functionality. So are these First Order, or does what happen is the First Order is a sect or a break-off sect of the remnants of the Empire that ran off into the unknown regions, and then there's the true Sith fleet or whatever. I've been seeing that all over Twitter. Was there a break off sometime afterward, and Hux went with Grand Admiral Sloane, who then Grand Admiral Sloane was then deposed by Snoke, and now they're finding their way back to the Imperial Remnant, and they betray Kylo because, well, Hux hates Kylo anyways, / Ben Solo. I don't know how the political pieces of the bad guy side fit together, especially considering the Palpatine's back. It is frustratingly joyous that I don't know what the hell is going on. Anyways, also we get the promise of a massive space battle. Yes, please. That's exactly what I want in this movie. That's the fanboy in me. Rey and Naomi Ackie's character looking very concerned. Oh, there's a little laser blasty thing going on over there. A little green laser blast. Right there. And it looks like, yeah, there's another one. It looks like that's a B-Wing back there too, being shot at, maybe? I don't know. Story of a generation, or the legend of a generation, or whatever, comes to an end. And C-3PO eats an edible. I mean, credit to, I think that's Haas Burkhardt, that I saw tweet that out. But, okay. It looks like he's coming out of some sort of something or another. And honestly, DJ Older's, Daniel Jose Older's last shot is freaking me out right now. Long story short, killer droids that are tired of being messed with and trotted on and treated as second-class citizens, and not even second-class citizens. They're treated as non-sentients, which is ridiculous. And they get a little sick of it in DJ Older's last shot, and this. I mean, he's got the 000 red eyes, and it's kind of tweaking me out, and I don't know how I feel about it, but I feel like I'm going to be okay with whatever C-3PO does. I spit on my microphone. I'm going to be okay with whatever C-3PO does, because if C-3PO becomes the Ewok god that Luke set him up to be, and he's just goes mass murderer, I'm okay with that. I think, because I've liked the Goofy in Star Wars. Give me the Goofy in Star Wars. Keep Star Wars weird and out there and strange. I'm okay with it if C-3PO ends up becoming a mass murderer, as long as he's a mass murderer on the good side, in my opinion. The laser blast of some planet. This looks like it's the same planet that Naomi Ackie's character, or not Naomi Ackie, excuse me. I can remember the character name, but not the actress for Zerai. I can't remember the whatever. Buffering. Zerai, as we see in the Vanity Fair article, is on a snowy looking planet, and da-da-da-da-da-da. I'll bet you that the Empire / First Order / baddies are going after them. And in true bad guy fashion, just decide to blow the whole damn planet up. Or, single reactor ignition. The town that they're in, or something. That certainly is what looks like what's happening. Similar looking planet. Also, I really like the pulsing of it. It looks like it's some sort of wave cannon. I don't know. I look forward to whatever's in the visual dictionary and stuff like that. And now we've got Rey. It looks like she's. I don't think her saber is. I don't know. I think it was one of the Resistance broadcast guys. I think it was John Hoey on Twitter mentioned something about there being a strong possibility of this, the saber gets stuck in the tree and she's training. This is at the very beginning of the film, which would make sense considering how bright and pretty and colorful it is. And it's probably going to get darker and darker and darker as the tone-wise, color palette-wise, as the movie goes on. But it looks like it could have been stuck in the tree, and she goes and it slips out of her hand or something, and that's interesting. It looks like that's the little training remote thing, dodges out of the way of it. Then it cuts that tree in half, and then it zips right back because Rey's a Force goddess, and I'm okay with that. Kylo walking menacingly away from the same TIE fighter that we saw in the teaser, which is awesome. Which way am I going? Oh, there we go. And yeah, I'll take whatever's going on here. I have no idea. He's clearly walking up towards Rey, probably. It looks like there's still just floating wreckage. And this just reeks of Mustafar. And I sent out that tweet right after the Vandy Fair thing, where the perfect place to reforge the Skywalker line is a place of water and blue and life. In the same way that, in kind of a complete reversal on when the Skywalker name was soiled and sundered, the Skywalker saga, the Skywalker legacy was sundered by Anakin choosing the dark in that fight on Mustafar. That's the moment that he truly became Vader, is on Mustafar in that fight with Obi-Wan. And that's when the Skywalker bloodline lost its way. So I would not be surprised at all if this is where we lose Kylo Ren and we gain Ben Solo. Because there's going to be redemption. I know that there's naysayers about there. Me personally, I'm not very hyped up on the idea of a romantic Reylo. I'm very much about platonic Reylo. I'll probably come up with another video about that, and that can be downvoted to hell, because I understand that the Reylo community is very, very passionate, and I don't blame them for it. But anyways, I'll make my what I want from Reylo in episode 9 video next week or something. Actually, no, we've got Black Spire coming out next week or tomorrow. There's too much Star Wars, guys. I'm really liking the choreography. I'm just going to play this back at full speed, just so you guys, just to get a feel for it again. Yeah, it's the same thing that we've been seeing in the sequel trilogy, where it's a combination of the choreographed dance-like fighting that we got in the prequels and the full-blown, heavy-duty, hardcore, broadswordy type fighting in the original trilogy. But it's even more fast-paced. These are two incredibly powerful Force users at the very height of their power. But they don't have the old way of the prequel era to the exacting science of what that dueling is. So they're just hacking at each other. Despite even if it's very Force-y, even if it is thoughtful hacking, it's still just hacking. And I love it. And we get a long bit of black. And the big thing that everybody's upset about being in all the thumbnails on YouTube, and it'll probably be in my thumbnail, is those are Kylo blades. I didn't see that until just now. Those are Kylo-y blades. Okay. Dark Rey. I love Rey as a character. I love the idea of a no one coming out and cleaning up the Skywalker's mess. I don't know how I feel about this. I am less scared than I think I thought I would have been. I feel like right now that I am worried, but I'm not as scared as I would have been a week and a half ago had somebody said, hey, there's going to be a Dark Rey in the trailer. Back then I would have been like, oh my God, I will literally be completely losing my mind, and not in a good way if that was the case. there's a lot of theories that I've thought up over the day at work, where I like the idea of Rey being possibly a clone, which would fit with her dark side force vision in The Last Jedi, and maybe even like the Knights of Ren are just other Reys, and she was designed to be and they were designed to be Force warriors for Palpatine's glorious return. She and the rest of her, the rest of the Reys were meant to be a tool in the contingency plan. And maybe, I think that's going to be a little bit far out there, but I'm okay with it. Another idea is that this is Rey going full Luke, or rather Luke, which I don't want, from the Timothy Zahn trilogy, where there's a clone of Luke and it was an evil clone and the things happened. I'm not too crazy about that. I think the simplest thing that I've thought of, and what I think is going to end up happening, is she will turn Ben. Or this could be either she will turn Ben and then, or she won't turn Ben. She will turn because of something the Emperor does, because Uncle Palpy gets in her head, and she locks herself in a room and creates this saber and whatever. And then Ben has to, Ben, out of care for the only person that's ever kind of understood him, tries to bring her back, and then he dies in the process of that. She comes to her senses, or he doesn't die, and that's fine too. And she comes to her senses, and they work together to seal Palpatine away finally, exorcise him from the netherworld or whatever. The other thing is that this could just be a vision. Who knows? This could be something that the Emperor throws out there to mess with Rey's brain. I don't know. It could just be like, this is what you could have been. This is what you could be if you join me. Feel the power emanating from her, or whatever. Because Palpatine's a manipulative bastard. But, yeah, there's so much to think about with a dark Rey in the movie. Whether or not it's a clone, whether or not it's a vision, whether or not it is actually Rey. I can tell you this much. The only thing that's going to actually upset me and actually make me dislike the movie is if Rey dies and or finishes on the dark side. I'm okay with a blending of dark and white. I'm okay if this is just her. She ends up having to kill Kylo, and she gives in to her rage and her hatred, but she relinquishes the power once she has the power of the dark side in order to break Palpatine. Maybe she gets really, really, really pissed off with Palpatine because Palpatine's the reason that she just had to kill Kylo or Ben. And she just goes full-blown Rambo on him. I don't know. There's so many ideas. There's so many different possibilities for them to do this, because Rey's never shied away from using the dark side. You went straight to the dark. You didn't even try to stop yourself. And every single time that she's in a fight, she's always, growling and screaming, and she's using the passion of the dark side. Which is not something that the traditional Jedi way would approve of. So, guys, I don't know, and I'm scared in a good way, if that makes sense. I'm ready to see what they do with this movie. I really want this movie like yesterday, really bad. I've been talking for 30 minutes. Okay. Last thing. The bendy saber. The adult in me is like, that's stupid. The Star Wars kid fan in me is like, that looks neat. I don't know. I had the same reaction to Kylo's saber in the Force Awakens teaser. Where he's like stalking through the snow and he ignites it, and this is the first time we saw the crossguard saber. And I was like, whoa, that looks cool. And then like for like 3 or 4 days afterward, I was like, that looks dumb. And then I fell back in love with it. So I'm hoping that's what happens with this. Cause I'm now that I'm thinking about it, it's like, what is the why? What's the purpose of it? I don't understand. I mean, is it just because did she just jury rig it that way because she wanted a double-sided lightsaber, but she couldn't make it a manageable length? I mean, it is a pretty hefty length of a lightsaber and a little bit too long for her to just clip it to her belt. And is that the reason why it's all foldy? Yeah, I'm going to go with that. The handle would be too long if it didn't bend for her to stow it on her belt. That is, it just stowed on her belt and she just decided to ignite it first. I'm okay with that. Also, important thing to note here. I know that you guys probably can't see it too well. I'm just going to try and zoom and enhance. That doesn't look like black. That looks like almost like a purpley sheen, and there's very subtle, like to me it looks very Leia-ish. So maybe just because she's got a red blade, maybe she loses the Skywalker saber again, or the Skywalker saber's not stable enough, so Kylo Ben gives her his saber or his saber hilt and she uses it to be like, all right, let's dance, because Ben knows that he doesn't have the strength to defeat Palpatine. Of course, then there's also there's a thing in the I don't remember the name of it. Oh, good lord! I wish if I could remember it, but there was something about when the righteous loses the light, something. It was in Master and Apprentice. It was one of the prophecies. I wish if I could remember it, but anyways, all right. I've now been talking for 30. This recording has been happening for 33 minutes. So, sorry. And that's as short a time as I could possibly come up with to talk about this. What? Dark Ray. What do we got here? Dark Ray. 1. Yeah, I know. Fighting 2. I'm going to count that as part of the fighting. The saber tossy thingy. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 little bits of footage. 9 couple second clips of footage, and I've talked about it for 30 something minutes. So yeah, it's happening, guys. I can't wait to see what this movie has to offer. I'm going to keep watching this over and over and over again. I'm going to open up my damn whiteboard and figure out what's going on with it. Try and map out mind map it out. There's so much to figure out and there's so much to explain, and I'm so ready to see what happens. All right, guys, let me know what you guys thought of this basically 30 seconds grand total of footage in the comments down below. And yeah, may the force be with you guys. Take care.